The most boring word in your bio, your resume, is professional. And the most powerful thing about you is the detail you deleted because it didn't sound professional enough. Let me say that again, because this is the whole video. This is everything that you come for. The weird, specific, slightly too human detail you keep editing out, that's not the throwaway. That's the hook. You've been cutting the best part. And here's how this works and why almost everyone gets this backwards. We think people remember what's impressive, right? So we lead with impressive. Big titles, round numbers, brand name, logos, 20 years of experience, worked with Fortune 500 companies. It all evaporates the second someone scrolls past. Because impressive is generic. Everyone's impressive. Impressive is the water everyone's swimming in. And you know what people actually remember? That weird, the weird specific, the detail so particular, it can only belong to you. Not I help real estate investors. That's a category, and nobody remembers a category. So let me give you the one that lives in my head rent-free. I worked with a real estate investor named John. Smart guy, successful, and his whole pitch was the most forgettable sentence on planet Earth, especially if you're a real estate investor. I buy houses for cash. So does every wholesaler in what John does. There are 10,000 guys in the market that he's in saying the exact same 4 words. He was a $2 bill, spending himself like a 1. So he dug and buried under all the professional stuff was this tiny detail you almost didn't mention. Because it didn't feel like a business thing. But one day when John was buying a home, when he usually buys home, it's because someone's life fell apart. There's a death, a divorce, a foreclosure. It really is the worst day of their life. And John, to this one individual, brought somebody lunch. Why? Because John was hungry. So calls up the seller, was going to be late to the appointment, and said, "Hey, seller, what's your favorite lunch spot?" The seller said, Chipotle. Chipotle. Who doesn't love Chipotle? Walks over to Chipotle, probably drives, orders a $25 lunch. Goes over, goes to the seller, eats lunch with the seller. $25. 20 minutes later, the seller signed the contract. That's it. He brought lunch to the seller. So what? He's not the guy who buys houses for cash. Just based on that alone, he's the guy who brings lunch to people on the worst day of their life. Tell me you forgot that. You can't, right? It's stuck to you now. Same business as everyone else, same guy, but one detail. And he went from invisible to impossible to forget. The lunch was the hook. He'd just been living it out because it sounded like somewhat of a real estate pitch. It sounded like it was more about him, but it really became about that seller. Now here's where my old job comes in, because I did this for a living. For 25 years in television, I sat in casting rooms looking for exactly this. And I'll tell you the secret, we never cast the most impressive person, the most person with the biggest resume and the best. Well, we cast the very specific, unique, distinct $2 bill person. The accomplished one would sit up straight and give you the polished version. They were smooth, they were credentialed, they were forgettable. And then someone would mention, almost by accident, that they raise competitive ducks, or they haven't missed a day at the same diner in 19 years, or whatever that specific was, and the whole room would lean in. That person we'd build a show around. Not because they were better, not because they were the best. They were unforgettable. And unforgettable always lived in the specific, never in the summary. A polished version is what you think they want, right? But the specific version is what they actually remember. The improv version, the you, without trying. So here's the question that matters for you. What's your lunch? What's the detail you keep leaving out of your bio, your resume, your post, your networking, your intro? Maybe because it feels too small, or too weird, too professional, too unprofessional, maybe too personal. Where's the detour? That maybe strange first job, the hobby that has nothing to do with your work, but somehow explains exactly how you think. The reason you actually do this that you've never said out loud in a business context. That's the thing. You've been treating it like a footnote when actually it's the headline. You strip it out for the same reason. John almost did it. It didn't sound like a real version of a job, especially his job. And that exact instinct to professionalize it away is why your brand is forgettable. The algorithm doesn't reward polish. It rewards, wait, what? That weird detail is your wait, what? So let's find it, okay? Let's find it. Are you ready? I'm gonna give you 3 steps. You ready for step 1? You're ready for step 1? Okay, here's step 1. Make a list of the details you've been hiding. Set a timer for 5 minutes and write down every specific, slightly embarrassing, too human thing about how you work and why. Actually, let me tell you something different. Instead of writing it down, go live on TikTok, go live on Instagram, go live on Facebook, and talk it out. Write down or talk at every specific, slightly embarrassing, too human thing about you, and transcribe it. Because when we talk more, we say more. And I want you to talk about the thing you never put in a bio. I don't want you to filter. The stuff that makes you go, I can't say that, is exactly the stuff. Do it live. Step 2, transcribe it and read the list to one person who knows you. And you're like, Brad, no! But do it and watch their face. The one that makes them smile or go, oh my God, yes, that's so you. That's your candidate. Other people can see your $2 bill way easier than you can. You are too close. They're not. And step 3, lead with it for 1 week. Put the weird detail at the top, first line of the post, first thing out of your mouth. Stop bearing it under your credentials. Give it the spot it deserves and watch what happens to how people respond. You list it. You test it on a face. You lead with it. That's the whole move. And here's the part that should take the pressure off. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to become more interesting. The interesting thing already happened. It's already true about you. John didn't go and invent that lunch story. He'd been doing it for years, but he just never said it out loud. The hook was already in his life, and he was standing on top of it. And so are you. The detail that makes you unforgettable isn't something you have to go create. It's something you have to stop hiding. The problem, it's almost impossible to spot your own. That lunch detail was obvious to me in about 10 minutes, but invisible to John for years because he was inside it. That's not a him thing, that's everyone. You cannot read the label from inside the jar. So go to findyouronly.app. It's findyouronly.app. It's free. 8 questions under 8 minutes. It's built to do exactly this. Surface that specific, weird, unforgettable detail you've been editing out. The one you're too close to see. The thing I'd find if you were sitting across from me in a casting room. Stop leading with the version of you that sounds like everyone else. Go find your lunch today, right now. And don't be the best. Be the only. Be the $2 bill.